Welcome back to the greatest game show on RuneScape with a prize pool of 52 billion currently. This is week 8. We had the dreaded PvP challenge this week. Everyone knew it was coming eventually. I targeted the best PKers on the show specifically in anticipation of a big PvP challenge. This is a week that I almost certainly expected to lose, and it finally arrived. We had a 5v5 PvP relay, which means almost everyone has to pull their weight on this one if you want to win. And later on, I'll also talk about some of the social strats with the tribunal, everything. Well, I'll just go into the week. You know how this goes. You've probably seen the rest of these at this point. Last episode, Roydy won the banning, and he didn't choose sabotage, so no sabotage here. But he did get a chance to pick one person to go on his team for the 5v5, which is a pretty nice advantage. And he chooses Framed, which turns out to be an amazing pick. What a shocker. Framed did very, very well this week. So these are the teams that get drafted for the 5v5 PvP relay. We all had different roles to pick. I ended up going in the Carol's DHer role. I had never used this setup to PK ever in my life. I think my team does have an edge going into this challenge, but not like a big one. I think the balancing is pretty well done. There's usually a lot to talk about for each challenge, but for this one, since it's a team challenge with not really much strategy involved, it's just I went into fight, I did what I did, but I'll still talk about it a bit. So Foe goes up first against Hootie, and I think Hootie made a big mistake in his fight because he let himself trade hits with Foe 1-to-1. Hootie had a Carol's crossbow, Foe had an Armadillo crossbow. You cannot be trading hits 1-to-1 with that thing. The Armadillo crossbow is going to destroy you, so Hootie genuinely did get outplayed, and that gave us a lot of momentum. The snowball just started to keep going and going and going, right? I go up next against Sea Engineer, and I actually played pretty decently. I've never PK'd with Carol's Darox, like I said, but I still understand it, objectively speaking. I know how it works. I know how the armors work. It's just I've never actually had experience with it, but I ended up beating Sea Engineer. I got my one kill. That's all I cared about during this, really. When you're in a team setting like this, you just don't want to be the one that screws it all up. So I got my kill on Sea Engineer. I had officially contributed what was expected of me, so from that point on, the pressure disappears, really. And I fight Torvesta next, and I actually ended up doing over 100 damage to Torvesta, and I made him use both of his special attacks to kill me. He was their best geared player and their best PvPer, so I was very happy with my impact in this challenge. I got mine and then some on their best player, and then Frame just comes in and absolutely cleans up. I mean he was just on one this challenge. He absolutely smokes his two opponents, gets some damage on the third, who is Mammal, who is their final player. So Framed, the definite MVP of this challenge. He had the most important fight to win. He won it. Good call from Roydy to pick him. He carried us to the victory here. And Bodhi didn't even have to come off the bench, bro. It's Bodhi's day off. Literally just got to chill the entire challenge. What's great about the win this week is I just won the dreaded PvP challenge. I'm safe in a week that I really didn't think I was going to be. And this is really not a week that you want to lose because, of course, there's only 5 people that can go into the banning this week. So the question comes up, who's going into the tribunal on the winning team, our team? There's 5 of us, only 3 can go in and make the choices. And for the first time in the season, I'm happy to not go in this tribunal. Honestly, it hurts on one side of the coin because I wanted to keep this constant tribunal streak alive, or just, be in as many tribunals as I possibly can. But I'm trying to stay in the game here. My best odds are to just take my safety and not be in this tribunal because I have a very strong feeling Victim is getting put in the banning here. So I happily sit this one out. I was kind of saying Foe, you should be in the tribunal since he got the first kill of the challenge and started the snowball, the momentum. So look, if I can take my safety and stay outside the tribunal here and have others make the exact same decision that I would make, it's the absolute best optics for me here. Since Bodhi can't go into the banning and 2 of the strongest farmers can't go into the banning, Victim is the best target here. I do not want him in a final, and I see no downside to staying out of the tribunal. I want to keep my friendship with Victim alive, and I can't do that if I go into the tribunal and send him in. I don't think I'd be able to explain that with Framed in there as well, so I have to stay out. And that's exactly how it goes. Victim is in the banning today against Mr. Mammal. This suddenly turns into best case scenario. Either a farmer goes home or Victim goes home. Either outcome is great here, especially because Victim doesn't know that I don't want him in a final right now. So if he stays, that's okay. If Mammal goes, the farmers are down to 2. No outcome is bad here. This is a perfect banning. The banning is to eat or not to eat, a viewer favorite. I'd say this banning is Obviously, largely RNG, of course, it's like mainly RNG dependent, but I think we clearly saw in this banning that there is a mental edge Victim gained, and ultimately, I think there is like a game theory optimal strategy for when to eat, when to throw the dragon knives, when to go in for a hit. Something like that definitely exists for this. So there's some optimizations and an edge to be gained. Obviously still largely RNG, but Victim straight up won the first round off a mental edge. Mammal had Victim on 14 HP, like a 60% chance to KO. When you get those kind of odds, you gotta go for it. That's game theory optimal, and he decided to eat, I believe, twice. So round one went to Victim. I think Mammal should have won round one. In all odds, he would have if he went for a hit when Victim was on 14, but he just like mentally took over. Round two, RNG just took its toll. You know, like that round was pretty much purely RNG, not really much mental game going on there. But 2-0 for Victim. He's back in the game. I absolutely love Mr. Mammal. I hate to see him go just because he's just... Man, I love that guy. Like, he did his best. It was nice to have him on the cast. I can't trust anyone that dislikes Mr. Mammal. He's an absolute king. So, on the other side of the coin, there's only 2 farmers left now. So, like I said in the episode, they're no longer like a scary trio. They're a formidable duo, which is a lot more manageable. Granted, it's Foe and Roidy, super scary players, but the farmers are no longer a massive threat. Which really makes like Bodhi the biggest threat in the game now, because the farmers are now a duo, yes, but like so are like me and Framed, you know, like we'll vote together. We probably won't vote each other in, you know, so that's kind of the same level now. It's not as scary. A trio is a bit scary, but yeah, it's like a more manageable level now. Bodhi's still a scary threat. Victim, I think, is a underlooked threat. But anyway, Victim comes back in the game. He chooses Sabotage. I DM'd him about making a big move next week with the Sabotage. 9 players left in the game now, so the walls are closing in. Everything is scary. I'll see you next week for the Week 9 review.